Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to Dice to Shoot, a weekly episodic show where I talk about what's going on in the world of professional wrestling, and then we talk about some little mini topics, and then we talk about the main topic. Same thing that's going to happen today. So why don't we go ahead and jump right in? So let's start with the WWE Draft. It was last week. Um, we said it last Friday was the start of it, and then this past Monday was the end of it, and um about the draft. It is fortunate. Well, first off, I can say this: the draft should not even be happening because they need to merge the rosters and leave them merged and everything like that. But that's not gonna happen for some reason. Some reason they feel the need to do that, and I don't understand why. But since they are doing the draft, but the draft should be if they want the draft to be more kind of sports orientated, like they wanted, like they thought, like they talked about a couple years ago, right? Where they wanted the draft to be, this sports orientated um, feeling. Then what they should have done, and what they should do, they should make the draft almost like the NFL draft, the NBA draft, right? It shouldn't be on the show. It shouldn't be on Friday. It shouldn't be on Monday. It should be like put it on a Wednesday. Put it on the network or on the YouTube channel or something like that, and then do the thing where you have a draft and people come out and they say the first pick and you get in the draft the SmackDown roster selects so and so, and then you can have maybe like people there in the audience, and you can have they can go up there and they can come on and they can come up on the stage and they can like how they show the jersey, or in the NFL they show the jersey, or in the NBA they put the hat. You can have them do that and come on, have them hold up SmackDown jersey and everything like that, and have them get an interview with the folks and everything like that, and make it, and then you can do it that way. Make it like that instead of doing it on the shows, because I think when you do it on the shows, it's yeah, you know, I can see why some people don't like it. It doesn't bother me too much, but I would prefer it to not be on the show, and I would prefer it to be like on a YouTube type of thing, everything like that. As for some of the people that was drafted, I think one of the complaints that I heard about it, which I kind of agree with, is that it almost seemed like that for some people, some the seems almost seems like there's some feuds are just moving, like Edge and Rollins on SmackDown is just moving to Raw. Both Edge and Seth were drafted to Raw, right? Becky Lynch and and Bianca Belair both drafted to Raw. So this would have been like a perfect thing to kind of have these feuds end, especially when the way they're doing it is that these things ain't taking effect until um ain't taking effect until after Crown Jewel, the Friday after Crown Jewel. So why not go ahead and just have it be and just have on there having be two different shows, and that final showdown on that Thursday could end the feud. Because see, you could still have Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks is on SmackDown, but it's a true between Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Bianca Belair. But and you can still have Becky and you can still have Becky and Bianca feuding on Raw. So unless you're gonna move Sasha Banks out of the picture somehow, you know, maybe have her take on Charlotte Flair or something like that, then there's no sense of what's going on there. So yeah, I think that was kind of crazy. Again, both Liv Morgan and Carmella are moving to Raw, and they're having a match tonight in the Queens tournament. And we'll talk about that a little later as well. So that, and so and I guess I can see that complaint. I think this would have been a good way to kind of like move some things around. People who have been in feuds, maybe move them to different shows, right? So, but the only thing you can say is this: they're trying to, with the help with the things on the network, that they're trying to, they're trying to feed two beasts. Um, Not only are they trying to, create the best show for each show, but they're also trying to satisfy the networks so that the networks would be happy that they got things. So apparently SmackDown, Fox Network, when they start Charlotte Flair, they got Charlotte Flair. So Raw's gonna get Becky Lynch and then Bianca Belair. So it's all about what it was. I did like the fact that Friday the Usos were not drafted. Roman was upset about that. He had Paul Heyman go to Monday Night Raw and make sure that the Usos were drafted to SmackDown, and and they were drafted. They were drafted to SmackDown, and you can see in the back Paul Heyman was going, thank you, Jesus. So I like that. I found that to be interesting. And one last thing on the draft, people are upset that the New Day have been broken up. Listen, I guess broken up for the second time. It doesn't matter. Y'all need to stop it. Okay, Big E is the WWE champion. Kofi and Xavier are tag teamers. That's the way that it was. That's probably the way it should have been all along. Kofi, the fans got behind Kofi and the WWE decided to put the title on Kofi. Looking back on it, was it the right idea? To be honest with you, I have no idea. I don't know if it was the right idea to put the title on Kofi. It made the fans happy, but at some point, you know, you got to stop doing this. These fans nowadays are so entitled that you can't go by what the fans want. You have to do you have to do what's best for the business. And what's best for business isn't what is best for the fans. And I think that's something that you know WWE knows, and something that AEW is gonna have to learn in the future too. They're trying to beat the fans, and they are just and at some point the fans are gonna be asking for more and more and more, and there's more of stuff that you just can't give them. And then they great stuff. So love the draft, love what happened to it. How about this? AJ Lee's making a return to wrestling. She is returning. She is going to be a producer and an announcer for Women of Wrestling. Women of Wrestling is making a return as well. Um, There's been announced AJ Lee's making a return there, so I found that to be kind of very interesting too. You thought maybe if she would have returned, she would have gone with her husband CM Punk to AEW, but maybe also she sees she sees what would happen because maybe she doesn't want to make an in-ring return. And if she would have gone to AEW, they would have tried to force her to make an in-ring return. Going to Women of Wrestling, just kind of just it just makes sense for her, because she doesn't want to be in the in-ring. She just wants to do the stuff around wrestling, not necessarily get back into the ring. And this return of an old classic is probably the best way for her to go about it. And speaking of women of wild wrestling, women of wrestling, I'm gonna have to find a way to not say that because I may have said it when I was talking about AJ Lee. But speaking of women of wrestling, they signed Tessa Blanchard, the Ultimate Heat Magnet, apparently because a couple of weeks ago there was a report out that AEW and WWE didn't want to touch Tessa Blanchard. Now we don't know the story. Year, yeah, it was probably about a little bit over a year ago, maybe 14, 15 months ago, sometime before the pandemic. Sometime before the pandemic happened. Um, there was there have been allegations of um, racial stuff against a woman. You know, she had called this woman the N word apparently, and everything like that. Tessa Blanchard has denied it and everything like that. So, but there was in Friday, and this was just before she was set to win the Impact Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, and so and there was stuff about that, and then and people all over the the country, from independent wrestlers to some wrestlers in WWE. I think I've been Chelsea Green said something, and a few other girls, or one girl, Big Swole may have said something too. I don't know. I can't remember because like I said, it was it was over a year ago, but so then that came out, and then when the pandemic hit, she wouldn't work with Impact Wrestling to do promos or something like that. Because that's basically, I think that's what they were all asking her to do. They were just asking her, she was in Mexico at the time, she couldn't travel to Impact, so they, because of the whole pandemic and everything like that. So all they were just asking her to do was just to cut promos and send those promos to them so that they could play on the television. She wouldn't even do that, so they stripped her of the Impact Wrestling Championship and fired her. Yeah, so it's been a big thing. People have been wondering who's going to sign it. Is it gonna be WWE? Is it gonna be TN? Is it gonna be AEW? Is it gonna be Ring of Honor? Who's it going to be? Then the report came out a couple weeks ago that it's it's neither one really wants to touch her at this point in time. Um, and then a couple of days ago, it was reported that once again, Women of Wrestling um, relaunch is during their relaunch, and they're gonna Tessa Blanchard. She is signed with their promotion, and people are wondering, are you ready? Do you really want to touch her or anything like that? Do you really want to, do you really want to build your promotion around her? And so then a couple of days ago, they also came out with a T-shirt apparently that says that she is nuclear, talking about the nuclear heat that she has with fans and people in the business and things like that. So, and then people are getting upset about that as well. So, yeah. Listen, here's my thing. Yeah, I don't know if she said it. People say she did. Yada yada yada. Whatever. She's apparently she's a fantastic wrestler, and she is, and I am shocked. I am shocked at the very least. I'm shocked that WWE did not sign her. I'm very shocked because I think that they it doesn't possibly that AEW shies away from her because they are they're someone that doesn't want any type of controversy whatsoever to be happening to them. They get upset about the joke that Max Caster said, the rap that Max Caster did, talking about the Duke lacrosse team and everything like that. So they're going to shy away from stuff like that. But I'm very surprised WWE was not interested in her. She would have been a total asset to the women's division, whether she would have been on NXT or whether she would have been on the main roster. And they even could have even played into it. They could have brought it up using the storyline. They use everything else in the storyline. If you're gonna use Jeff Hardy's past in the storyline, why wouldn't you use uh, why wouldn't you use her past in the storyline and then bring it up? Bring it up, bring it up. Have her say that she's holding down, and, Bianca, you know, if it's true what's happened to you, I already, she come out and say, and if the rumors about you are true, I already don't like you. and they could do all of it. They could do all of that, but she's with Women of Wrestling now, and we'll see how that goes, and maybe at some point she will go to go to WWE or even AEW. Don't forget her father, Tully Blanchard's in AEW. So, but yeah. See. So speaking of AEW, they have announced a new women's championship, the TBS championship. And if you've seen this thing is bigger than the actual women's championship. it, it, it's, 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 it's amazing. It's got to be like a new women's championship coming soon because the TBS championship is bigger than the women's championship. So, then the TBS championship is going to be a secondary title for the women's division. Um, Dynamite moving to TBS um, in the new year in January, and they're moving to TBS in the new year because um, Turner Sports signed a contract with the National Hockey League, and it originally was, if you remember the big story was that um, um, fuck is that show? NXT was moving from Wednesdays to Tuesdays because NHL and NBC had came to an agreement. NBC Universal had came to an agreement to show to show hockey on their shows, and it was going to be on Wednesday night. And then all of a sudden that deal fell through with NBC Universal, and then Turner picked it up along with ESPN, and so then hockey was going to be on TNT on Wednesdays, and so then that's where did Dynamite go? And then they decided to move Dynamite over to TBS on Wednesdays. So if you watch TNT, then on Wednesday TNT is gonna have hockey, and then on TNT, and then on TBS is gonna be Dynamite. So that starts in the new year, and that's also when the tournament is gonna start to crown the new championship, to crown the new champion. I'm 50-50 on the TBS championship. On one hand, I do think it is kind of a good idea to have a secondary championship for the women to, fight over. I think in WWE, you know, again, you know, that would have been better, but there were already two top championships, the Raw and the SmackDown championship. If there was one championship, one WWE Women's Championship, I would have preferred a secondary championship rather than women's tag titles because as you saw with the draft, they broke up all of the women's tag teams. The only women's tag team is now Rhea and Nikki, the tag titles. They broke up Tamina and Natalia. They broke up Shotzi and Knox. A couple weeks ago, they broke up Nia and Shayna. Have Shayna break Nia's arm allegedly. So, you know, I don't know what women's tag team is going to be for WWE. So it would have been better to just have a secondary championship, but anyway, so I think that's a smart idea. They shouldn't do tag teams, it's they don't have enough women for that. But then again, but on the other hand, it's they won't. There's a rumor that there's been trio titles. There's rumor has been around for years since the AEW started that they're gonna have trio titles. So you tell me that you're gonna have a AEW heavyweight champion. You're gonna have the TNT champion. You're gonna have AEW tag champions. You're gonna have AEW trios champions. You're gonna have a women's champion, and then your TBS champion. That's 6 championships. I do wonder if that's too many. That's too many. Because even if you look in WWE, right? Even if you look in WWE, if you merge the champions, you would have you have the Intercontinental champion, as the United States champion. I'm not merging them. I'm keeping them separate. You would have the tag champion, right? You have the women's champion, then you have the women's tag champion. That's six. That's six. And now I'm not even counting the 24/7 championship, which I would merge into one of the other champions here. So I think I think that might be too many for AEW. WWE can handle it. WWE can handle it. And again, I think if what WWE just needs to do, they just need to force make women's champion, women's tag titles, and just make women's tag teams. That's all they got to do. Make 5 women's tag teams, and then just have them, do what they need to do. So the TBS and the women's division isn't that deep on AEW as it is in WWE. It's not that deep. You have the champion Britt Baker. You have Ruby Soho, who just came over there to just fought her for the championship. Thunder Rosa, Nala, Serena Deeb has just come back. So you got some women there. Hikaru Shida, who was champion throughout the pandemic. So you have those women there. And some other ones we could. Most AEW fans do complain about AEW is the fact that they don't do a lot with their women's division. It's they complain that it's one match on on Dynamite, and it's usually the shortest match, and it's and yada yada yada. They complain about that, but and even with that, right? I think there's got to be there needs to be a difference, right? Between between the men's and the women's matches. I think that when we can get to the whole thing about Dynamite having, we having the jobbers go 20 minutes, because that should never happen. There's no reason why Jack Evans and Angelico, should have a match against Private Party, and that goes 20 minutes. No, no. You have to go 12 minutes. Have Private Party beat Jack Evans and Angelico, and that's it. That's all you need. It just needs to be 12 minutes, and that's what these women's matches need. For the most part, they can be 8 to 10 minutes. And it makes more sense too, because that's a whole other story. That might be something that I might get into as well. With that on another day. But so this TBS championship is I think for a company like AEW, who's still young, to have so many titles so quickly could be overstepping their boundaries. But we'll have to wait and see if it's a good thing or a bad thing. And like I said, take a look at it. It's bigger than the women's championship. That to me is the most amazing thing about it. And one last topic before we get to our main topic. Tonight starts the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. It is still called the King of the Ring, but they're calling the Queen of the Ring the Queen's Crown Tournament. I don't know why they just don't say Queen of the Ring. I don't know if they. I guess they can't do it because of the YouTuber who calls herself Queen of the Ring. I don't know. I guess maybe she might have the trademark on that. So I don't know if they can't use it. So it's called the Queen's Crown Tournament. So that might be it, or they just felt like they wanted something different to be from they wanted to be something different from the WWE. So from the men's. So the King of the Ring, the Queen's Crown. So wherever it is, it starts tonight. Allegedly, the finale, both of the finals are going to be happening at. We already have one match at Crown Jewel, which is the women's match. So the last couple times it's been there, you've had matches, women's matches. The time before last, we had the first women's match, which was Natalia and Lacey Evans. They had to come out there in all black and then a T-shirt over it, and it really wasn't a wrestling match. It was an exhibition and things like that. Um, really no stakes or anything like that. Just a match to say that they did it, and that there was the first women. That's going to be something that is going to be history. You're going to say what was the first women's match in Saudi Arabia? And you're going to say Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch, no, Bayley and Sasha Banks, no, it was Natalia and Lacey Evans. Okay. And then we had one. I think last year, right? Last year was the Bayley Naomi one when Bayley had a run at the heel. They had a match there. So and then of course they haven't been in Crown Jewel since. So now they have this triple threat match, and it's possibly so they could be two. Not only this triple threat match between Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, and Bianca Belair, but now we also could have a match between two women, and crown themselves, the queen of the ring, basically. So that's something that's gonna be interesting. I was always liked the King of the Ring. I like the original concept of the King of the Ring, where it's a one night tournament, and you would have to win, three matches in one night to be crowned King of the Ring most of the time. I think for the times that they did it, I think, and they did it in that fashion where you had to wrestle three times in one night. I think most of everybody did. I think Bret Hart wrestled three times, Owen Hart wrestled three times. Um, Mabel wrestled. Mabel might have wrestled twice because that was also the time when Shawn Michaels and the Undertaker, Shawn Michaels and Kama had a 15-minute draw, and so they were eliminated. So then the winner of I think it was Mabel Undertaker. They were sent directly to the finals. So I think Mabel only wrestled twice. And then in '6 they started doing the semifinals and the finals on the show. But for me, I liked it better when it was just the one night tournament. And I would like to see it come back like that. I would like to see it come back to one night tournament. You can just do it. You can just do that, and especially when you have a 3 hour Monday Night Raw. You can just do it on there. This is a special edition Monday Night Raw where from players from Raw and SmackDown will wrestle on this show to determine who is the King of the Ring. Then next week do the same thing for the Queen's Crown. The women of Raw and SmackDown are here tonight to wrestle in a one night tournament to see who is the Queen of the Ring, who will hold the Queen's Crown. You can do that, and it doesn't have to be a pay per view. You can do it. You have a 3 hour Raw to do it on. So, but listen, it's Vince doesn't like tournaments. Unfortunately, I don't know why. If he doesn't like tournaments, I don't know why he does them, because he doesn't do them very well. So, and he also and he calls them eliminators. He doesn't call them tournaments. He calls them eliminators. It's so we'll figure out. We'll see. The only thing I know is that Liv and Carmella will be wrestling once again for Sean Ross Sapp in another rematch. Once again, they will be wrestling tonight, and so So yeah, you have to try to figure out like why um what the thing is. Maybe we'll figure out a full picture, and then maybe next week I'll give you my predictions on who I think will win. 'Cause I don't even know who's in the damn tournament. Actually, really quickly, let me go ahead and just check WWE's Twitter really quick and see if they have it up there. Yeah, just text. There's no anything from a or anything. So no sign of it. So maybe we'll get it. Like I said, maybe we'll get it tonight. We'll get the full bracket for each one, and like I said, next week I can give you my predictions. Even though we would probably already have maybe one or two matches in each bracket. And now for the main topic of the show, NXT 2.0. I wanted to give it a couple weeks before giving my thoughts on the new revamped NXT. Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard are apparently taking over. There have been conflicting reports about it. The very first new show of NXT 2.0 didn't even have Vince McMahon there. The guy with the buck teeth that everybody makes fun of, Kevin Dunn. He was backstage. He was the one doing everything. So what do we have on NXT? NXT says it's going back to being developmental, not being a third brand. It's being developmental. But really, it isn't a bad thing. Now, with that being said, it probably shouldn't be on USA. It should be on the network. It should be on Peacock, right? It should, yeah, like it was in the past. That was one of the things I really disagreed with WWE doing. You know, because WWE, they helped make the AEW fantasticnism or whatever you want to call it. They help make the cult what it is by giving it its thing putting by putting NXT up against it. Why would you up against AEW if you wasn't worried? Not realize they had became the John Cena of the wrestling industry. And what I mean by that is that um, fans are just literally so tired of WWE being the only game in town that they will did anything. It can even AEW. If some other organization came up, the fans, you know, watching that, trying to make that, you know, number one show, lying about how good it is and doing everything to prove that it is going to be there, trying to make competition shit. But that's not how it goes. I think, you know, against AEW is the, that's it's with AEW. So if WWE really does think there is a threat and is a problem, they helped it a little bit by paid shit at. And there's no doubt about, and especially now when you look at what they're doing, that's for the WWE network, what they're doing. Now, with all that being said, I have enjoyed it. I have enjoyed watching it. I don't watch it live. I watch it on. I record it and watch it later on a replay, mainly because, you know, I have shows to watch with Supergirl and Stargirl, and soon I'll probably be watching The Flash and whatever else is going on Tuesdays. Um, so yeah, they're doing this and they're so they put it on. But I think it's good. They've introduced some great people that I think are interesting. Tony D'Angelo is he has caught the world's eye with this, so I think that's good. Mandy Rose has gone down there, and she has become a threat. And her and her group Toxic Attraction. I think I like them. You know, I was surprised people like Raquel Gonzalez and wasn't drafted, but Ridge Holland and Zia Lee was drafted, and so was Hit Row. They were drafted to SmackDown. Not sure why. 'Cause it looks like they're gonna put the title on Mandy Rose, and that just it looks like that. It really does. I would be surprised. I would be surprised if they didn't. Now they didn't put the tag titles on her cohorts, Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, but that doesn't mean that that won't happen in the future. You know, and it's so I'm so I'm Ram shocked that Raquel Gonzalez did not get drafted. Um, and they still get the other guys. They still get Tommaso Ciampa down there, Kyle O'Reilly still down there, Pete Dunne is still down there. I think they're still gonna be down there. Weirdly, this past week, Johnny Gargano took out all of the mentions of WWE in his bio, and the people are thinking, does that mean that possibly Johnny Gargano is leaving? Because it was stated that his contract is up later this year, and they have and Vincent said that he doesn't want any more midgets. That was the report that came out that Vince doesn't want any more midgets. He's looking for he doesn't want any more old guys starting in their 30s. He wants young guys, and he wants big. He wants big guys. And see all the guys that debut, they're big guys. The big Briggs and Jensen guys are big guys, and he's still got the small guys there. He still got Roderick Strong. Pete Dunne is kind of a small guy, so it's Tommaso Ciampa, at least in stature. But Johnny Gargano is maybe the smallest of the small. He would be the one that you would probably consider to be the quote unquote midget. Uh, you know, so I don't think he has no shot to be on the main roster. He has no shot to make it to the main roster. You saw what they wanted to do with Adam Cole. They wanted to shave his head and give him another name and everything like that. Um, so yeah, I don't think he has any shot on the main roster. So I think Johnny Gargano is definitely probably on the way out. Um, Tommaso Ciampa may be as well. He's right now. He's running an NXT Championship, but at Halloween Havoc, he'll be taking on Braun Breaker for the NXT title, and I wouldn't be surprised if they put the title onto Braun Breaker. I'm sure Swerve Scott is going to lose the North American title this next Tuesday. He's coming Tuesday to Santos Escobar as Hit Row is moving. Going to be a lot with NXT, but I love it. I love the way that they're going. They're doing things when they're introducing new guys there, the new guy and the matches are shorter. Again, that's what NXT was doing. NXT was doing kind of doing the same thing as well. They were having these 20-minute matches with people who didn't necessarily need their 20-minute matches. When they introduced Tony D'Angelo, they had him play somebody, Malik Blake, I think was his name. And it wasn't a true squash match. It was kind of competitive, But it was about 8 to 10 minutes, and it put over Tony D'Angelo good, and that's really what you need. That's just what you need. I mean, match 8 to 10 minutes to have the guy that you want to win go over, and have him go over the person that, and then your main event can be 20 to 25 minutes. You know, with your established players on the show. So this was fine. I'm enjoying NXT 2.0, and I can't wait to see where this continues to go. Like I said though, they probably do need to move it back to the network, move it back to Peacock, so that they can do more. They can do more stuff with the development of people, because they do, I think about it, what they do need to do is do need to have like squash matches, because it is quite sometimes they need to probably have two on a show per day, especially for maybe some of the guys who are out of that match with squash, and I think that's something that should be the way. I think that's something that they should continue with. So but my final thoughts on NXT 2.0 is right now I'm enjoying it, and I can't wait to see what they continue with as we continue on with this new version of NXT. So that's it for today's episode of That to Shoot. Make sure you come back next week. Again, hopefully the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring tournament brackets will be shown and out there, so we can talk about it, and maybe update it, and everything like that, and give you my prediction on both tournaments. But if you have any thoughts on those tournaments, you have thoughts on the TBS Championship, Tessa Blanchard and AJ Lee going to Women of Wrestling being relaunched, the WWE Draft from this past week, or on the main topic, what are your thoughts on NXT 2.0? Please post them down in the comment section. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy AJTRIP signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.